So it's now early spring and my trees very soon will be looking like this. And today's video is about making sure that at this period of time of the year when things can go very badly wrong, we maintain and care for our maples. A little bit about buying them, a little bit about looking after them, watering, feeding, lots of hints and tips to come. Hi there maple fans, and in this series of videos I'll be sharing what I do throughout an entire year on a monthly basis. Please note that these months are based on UK timings, but of course can easily be adapted to anywhere else in the world. So the first thing to say is that while winter appears to many people to be a very dangerous time for maples, this isn't really the case. The spring is far more dangerous. Why? Because the trees are coming out of dormancy now. They're starting to produce some lovely little leaves, as we can see in the pictures above. However, out of dormancy, they can very easily get too dry. They can very easily get too wet as well, actually, and that can be a real problem. So very soon, here's my Jordan here. That's going to look like that, moonrise. Things are really happening very quickly, but when this amount of foliage is on a tree, it gets through water very quickly indeed. So whereas a tree which is just coming into leaf uses a very sparing amount of water. So what I've been doing today is going out with a water meter, double checking everything and making sure that I'm watering my plants accordingly, because the variation in what each tree needs is really very large at this time of year. So here we have a tree, for example, which is still got buds. They will break very soon, and just note as well that various cultivars and will leaf out at different times. Some like Acer are renowned for leafing out quite early, but also the position and general location of the tree itself can really make a difference. And just looking at some dieback there, this is a great time of year to cut that back. Leave a good sort of 10mm to 15mm of dieback there, but cut the rest off. Why? Because we can see all the dieback very clearly before all the leaves appear. So here we have Twombly's Red Sentinel. Again, this is an absolutely gorgeous tree, and we'll update on this tree as the year goes on, actually, because it's one of my favourites. But as you can see, it's absolutely bursting with buds. And looking very nice indeed. You can see little bits of white in the middle though. There's a little bit of dieback going on there. That's normal, that's natural, that's absolutely fine really. So we can trim that now if we want to, but honestly in a very short space of time that's going to be covered in leaves and you won't really see much of it. But if you want to make some corrections, now's the time to do it. Also, just before these trees go out of dormancy, it's a really good time to prune any branches, as the new growth will cover up what you've done, but also the tree's quite vigorous, so that's going to really help to heal itself. Sazonami here, lovely tree, and as we can see, this has got the pot here's got some frost damage. If you're going to use porous pots, which I do prefer because of the cooling effect they have in the summer, this unfortunately is a kind of hazard with them. These are all supposed to be frost proof. Some fail over time, that's fair enough. So there's a tree that needs some work. I'll probably use the opportunity to repot this tree. It grows really quickly anyway, but I'll take the tree out of the pot, have a look at the roots, and as I've said on previous videos, the only way I decide whether a tree needs repotting is to look at the actual root system. If it's wrapped around the pot, I'll repot it. If it's not, then I'll leave it be, to be honest. That is a fairly large pot for that tree actually, so I'll probably use a pot of the same size, I would guess. But without looking, who knows. Little job there for me. Did a video last year where those little figurines were placed on the mirror, but obviously the frost has undone the glue, so to speak, so a little job to do there. But as we can see here, this particular border is quite barren actually. So the position obviously has dictated that these trees haven't leafed out yet, apart from one in the corner, to be fair. This is Jerry Swartz, which is a great favourite on the left there. But every tree's different, every position is different. So getting that water meter out, treating them all as individuals, particularly at this time of year, is really important. Just to note as well, this is a great time of year to buy trees. Okay, you won't see them in leaf, so you might wait a week or two. But if you know the cultivar you're looking for, if you then put it in a position in your garden and let it leaf out in that position, that's much safer. So you might put a sort of temperature or heat resistant tree that does well in direct sunlight, in full sun right from the word go. But you need to do that from this time of year because you don't want to take a tree that's been grown in a polytunnel under lots of TLC and care, and suddenly put it into direct sunlight. So good time to buy. Also the supplies are very well stocked as well, so that's a real advantage. Here you've got the collection of trees that are last year's little new trees I bought. These are relatively inexpensive, £16-17, something like that. I decided not to repot last year, but wait till this year. So we'll have a future video on that. Have a look at them tree by tree. Many of those pots will be absolutely full of roots now. So time to put it into a proper pot and move it from there, to be honest. But again, I think this is the right thing to do. I've said it many times before, repotting trees into pots that are too big is a massive mistake. And just to say, if you'd like to come with me on my Acer journey, please do like and subscribe to my little channel. It really helps. I've also recently set up a Patreon site, so that's a great way of supporting me too, and help out with some of the costs of my excursions really. There's also the offer of some personal help if you'd like it, either in a group format or on a one-to-one basis. So a great time of year to clear weeds and such from the top of the pots. And also I'll be taking all the old bark, the mulch off the top of the pots, throwing it away and applying new bark to the top. I just think this really tidies things up. And during that process, while the soil or compost is exposed, I'll be using my seasonal fertilizer that lasts an entire season. Now, of course, as I said before, you can use liquid stuff that you need to use about every 2 weeks. But with the sheer volume of plants that I've got, that really wouldn't be very feasible. So I think it's for me personally, just use something that's going to last the entire season really pays dividends. Just looking at that pot as well, that's one of the few glazed ones I've got. That's going to use a lot less water than an unglazed one. So again, using that water meter and really checking plant by plant is really essential. So as I go through these videos this season, I hope you do like and subscribe. Basically what I'll be doing is this is a repeated process. I'll keep going round, keep looking at my trees. I'll show you how to do things like the feeding I've just mentioned, repotting, etc. And I think by doing that, if you are as many are in the sort of same situation where it is spring, that's going to be really helpful for you. Lots of cultivars on offer here. I've got about 70, all of which are different, apart from a couple of repeats. So lots of interest, I hope, for people out there. This is Shishigashira, which is an absolutely gorgeous tree. And every year I've owned it, it just gets better and better. It was a poor scraggly thing when I bought it. But lots and lots of lovely new growth there, which is all really good to see. But again, it's just about knowing your trees, treating them as individuals, really. Sure, in the very hottest of summer, you might go into sort of mass watering mode, or if you're going away for a few days, that's absolutely fine. But at the moment, treating them as little individuals with their position being considered is really important. So a great time of year to get your compost ready. I still use a mixture of ericaceous compost in a 50-50 mixture with mature plant compost. I find that works for me. It doesn't really have to be acidic compost for Japanese maples, but it mustn't be alkaline. That's kind of damaging to them. So if it's slightly acidic because of the ericaceous compost, that really helps. Shana here, absolutely brimming full of little buds. A touch of dieback, you tend to get this on particular cultivars, and this is one of them. But that's going to look absolutely lovely in a few weeks. So definitely want to keep an eye on, and we'll be showing that later on in future videos. So really massive watch out for the spring. In summary, the plants are no longer dormant. They're very susceptible to drying out. They're very susceptible to getting too wet, actually. So with regards to repotting, I would be very careful, to be honest, to check the weather reports and just make sure and see that we're not going to get sort of a very wet spring. I don't believe we are here in the UK, but wherever you are in the world, that's worthy of consideration. If that's the case, I would definitely hold back repotting till later. And the big issue in the spring, to be honest, is freezing temperatures. So if you have a weather report that says it's going to freeze overnight, using some fleece or moving some plants into some shelter can be really helpful. And just to note that, fortunately, I suppose it's the small trees that are the most susceptible to frost. So as an absolute push, I might even move them into my conservatory or a shed or a greenhouse or something, just overnight perhaps, just to suffer that so they don't get frost and get frostburnt. But in general, and certainly in this year's case in the UK, I think we're going to get away with it because once the trees have leafed out, they're sort of fairly committed, really. So just one in the ground here as well. As you can see, almost different branches are at different stages, really. And I've shown this tree several times before, but it is by far the biggest tree that I own, even though it's the same age as many of the others. simply because it's in the ground, so it has unlimited resource. And really just to say, I think it's really better to have a plan for your garden layout, and this is a great time to do it. You can do things quite cheaply, quite simply, to be honest. But rather than just sort of doing what I did, and the mistake I made was just buying lots and lots of different plants without much thought, I'm now mixing it up with a little bit of some ornaments and some bits and pieces. There's some more conifers going in there, just to add to the whole experience, I suppose, really. So definitely better to have a plan than change it than not plan at all. I've certainly been guilty of that.